of the mantras, they say, of playing 50-over cricket is bat out the 50 overs if you're batting first and try and take the match deep if you're chasing, no matter what the target might be. New Zealand didn't take a box on either count. In 2 matches in the series so far, they've batted a total of 78.2 overs. And hence, India 2-0 up in the series, one at Napier and here at Mount Maunganui. The story pretty much the same. This time India batting first, putting on 324 for 4. Lots of debate on whether that was par, below par, just above par. At the end, with New Zealand's batting effort, it didn't really matter in the end. 90 runs the victory, a bit flattering thanks to Doug Bracewell's 57 of 46. Later on Cricbuzz Live, we're trying to make sense of the whole thing, but one conclusion I've definitely come to. We've got lots of fans of our shows, of this and Cricbuzz Combox, but I reckon the New Zealand cricket team are not great fans of Cricbuzz Combox because every time we try to do it, they don't bat enough overs for us to come around a second time.
We never do the second Cricbuzz Combox, do we? So we get set to do the second Cricbuzz Combox, but something happens around 35 and... No.
Well, the match gets over almost.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think really the story for them has just not been taking the match deep enough no matter what. You've got to give them a chance, the middle order. And of course, we're coming back to the old adage of those 2 wickets in the first 10 overs. And this is what it is. New Zealand's follow wickets lost the 2 big ones inside the 10 overs, then another in the first 15, and then they were playing catch-up pretty much the rest of the way.
Look, when any team has to win a ODI, you'll talk about those boxes which you have to tick. And if you look at the Indian team's clinical performance in both the games, actually, that even in today's game, there was just one passage of play where we were talking about in the mid-innings saying that, last 15 overs, maybe India could have, if you have to be really harsh on the Indian team, we knew that 326 is going to be more than enough. Looking at the way Indian team has been going about their processes and the clinical bowling performances which we've been witnessing over the last couple of years now, that's been the real trend. So by that, pretty much the match was 70-30 in India's favour at the halfway mark. Those boxes, if you keep ticking, you're always going to come up with clinical performances like that. Similarly, when you look at the New Zealand team, they're hardly ticking any boxes. And that's the big worry. That's a big concern. And when you're 2 down in the series, playing at home, it's never going to be easy. Yeah. That is like really denting your confidence going forward in the 3rd game. So I think India has got a great opportunity once again to tick that huge box of really rolling New Zealand over in an overseas series. I think that will be a great achievement.
Virat Kohli makes it 3-0 and goes back. I mean, I don't need many more, right? I'm missing the last over. It's 3-0.
But
okay.
Harsha, we talk about partnerships. We were just celebrating Rohit and Shikhar Dhawan's 14th century partnership. Now, forget century partnerships. In 2 ODIs, the New Zealand team managed only 150 partnership, that too for the 9th wicket in a lost cause.
When there was nothing left and Bracewell was swinging his bat, it'll worry them a lot because on paper, it's such a good side.
Yeah.
On paper, you see they've got openers who go hard. You've got Williamson, Taylor, Latham is a good player. Then you've got Nichols in case you lose something. And then you've got everybody batting. You've got all-rounders. You've got Santner didn't play today, but Santner, Colin de Grandhomme, Doug Bracewell, Tim Southey. You've got bowling all the way down. You've got a left-arm bowler. You've got a right-hand quick. On paper, you've got everything, but just tells you they don't play on paper. And they're not able to pick the wrist spin. And what did we say in the break when India had made 324? If you get 2 in the first 10, even if your wrist spinners give you 3 for 100 in 20 overs, but they've given you 3 wickets in the middle, and your 5th bowler, even if he goes for 80 in 10, you'll still win.
Yeah.
But you need 2 in the first 10. And I think every evening, Kuldeep Yadav and Yajwendra Chahal should take Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami out to dinner and say, thank you very much, you're setting it up for us. They're building the platform, these guys are coming in. So both need to do it. But the first 10 overs is just making such a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously, the first thing you look at a scorecard in isolation, and the temptation is to always say, the pick of the bowlers, 4 wickets, well bowled. No, of course, well bowled. But as Harsha said,
yes,
it's been set up for you, A, by the batsman, and B, of course, by the opening bowlers. And this is again looking at the fall of wickets. Now look at that figure of Ross Taylor's wicket. At that point, at 100 for 4, Kuldeep Yadav hadn't bowled a single ball.
Yeah.
He came on after the 20th over,
yeah,
and then he's picked up his 4 wickets. He's got 4 for 39, 4 for 45 in the 2 games, but spot on, big treat for the opening bowlers to set it up.
We did speak about this play at 15 over mark, isn't it? When they had 3 wickets down, Kuldeep hasn't bowled a single delivery. It was evident that these kind of situations will arise. The important thing for New Zealand is to regroup and get that confidence going, because if your top order is not firing, it's never going to be easy for you to put runs on board. And I think it's bigger worries right now, because players are getting set and they're getting out. So to get to a 300 total, the most important thing is whoever is in has to go and play a long innings. That's something which is not happening from New Zealand side, and that's the biggest concern. And that's why it's great opportunity for Indian team at the moment to really be ruthless, have that killer instinct, and finish the series in the next game.
I'll tell you what India won't mind. India won't mind if New Zealand are 75 for no loss after 10 overs, and then they win, because now it's a different kind of pressure on the bowlers to come. So you're seeing if your new ball bowlers can come back. I'm saying they won't mind, because this is still a preparation stage. If it was a World Cup game, we wouldn't have said that. But you still want to get into as many situations as possible to see who's got what they have to deliver. So at the moment, as he said, it's just clinical. And at the moment, you can say what you want about Dhoni's batting, and a lot of it is valid. But you cannot say anything about the fastest hands in the East. That stumping of Ross Taylor. I mean, that boot, it's almost as if the spike said, I've been in touch with the ground for too long, I'll yawn for a while. Gone.
A millimeter.
Oh, those hands are just so quick.
Yeah, when we were going back to Kuldeep briefly, when we were doing the Cricbuzz Combox, I cheekily sort of put in a little phrase saying New Zealand haven't applied for their KYC at the Kuldeep Yadav challenge. Yeah. But if you look at the real phrase, what it means, know your customer, I think that's where the secret comes. It's about being able to know the opposition from both points of view.
You've been filling a lot of forms, haven't you? A lot of investment, lots of mutual funds. No, it's a fair call. It's a good acronym, actually.
But yeah, so it's about, from both points of view, it's about the New Zealand team being able to read and recognize the spin.
Zach will understand that well. Know your customer, as he just produces his 23rd hotel or whatever restaurant or whatever.
But yeah, let's have a look at India's bowling once again. Whether or not you say it came after the 20th over, he still finished up with 4 for 45 there. Kuldeep Yadav, 33 dot deliveries. Yuzvendra Chahal again, less wickets, but did make the impact up front. He was the first to come up. And interestingly, now you look at Vijay Shankar and Kedar Jadhav. In the first match, 8 overs, 1 for 52. In the second match today, 8 overs, 1 for 52 from the fifth bowler. In Napier, 7 overs, 1 for 36. So both occasions, India have had the luxury of not needing the full 10 overs from the fifth bowler.
I've enjoyed watching Kedar Jadhav because he bowled that. Was it just a slow outswinger almost? The drift?
Wind was a factor in today's match, and that drift, which you see usually comes with the cross breeze, and he used it beautifully. I think what those numbers which you just put it on the screen was suggesting of the fact that how good was the wicket. If you look at the wicket column, you will see that wickets has made the difference. The economy rate right throughout the game has stayed the same. So it wasn't easy conditions for bowlers to deal with. So in these conditions, the only way to stay in the game is by picking wickets. So that's what Indians did well, and this is where New Zealand is going wrong. And not a single sign of a batsman being settled. So that's something which they have to really quickly rectify and think of processes. I think they've been doing decent enough job with the ball in hand, but they're not able to really match up with the Indian batting lineup and the kind of pressure of runs they will be putting right throughout the series.
India's fifth bowler has not been pushed in each of these two games, and now if Hardik Pandya has had enough bowling in the nets, enough to get his rhythm going. In this team, he comes in at 7, but the way Jadhav is bowling, he only needs to bowl 5 overs, really.
Yeah.
He's capable of bowling 10, as we saw the numbers in the morning, but the way Jadhav is bowling, even if he gives you 6-7 overs, it will allow you to bowl Jadhav only for 3 or 4 overs, and then that fifth bowler role starts to look even better, and then it allows you to play the 2 wristies again.
Now, Harsha, you did talk about Kuldeep Yadav taking Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami out for dinner. You reckon Rohit Sharma can come and have a bit of a meal there as well?
Why has he got man of the match?
He is man of the match,
Yeah.
but even before he was given
good
man
call.
of the match, I was going to ask you that because yes, it's set up by the opening bowlers, as Zahir Khan likes, those 2 wickets, but you've got to give credit for those 324, even though after getting man of the match, he A, gave credit to the bowlers first, and B, said it was still a pass score, not a big score.
Good, I'm glad he said it was a pass score.
Yeah.
You know, something I've enjoyed, starting with that tour of Australia, the freedom with which the Indian players are talking about the match situation. Sometimes you got the feeling in the past that maybe they didn't want to say something and everyone was very guarded in what they were saying. I've noticed this time that people are speaking their mind, and that helps the average fan. The average fan is thinking, you know what, 324 was damn good. No, it wasn't. So I'm glad that they're speaking their mind. Rohit, for example, said, I like Dhoni at number 4. And that's fine for him to say. If Kohli likes Dhoni at number 5, then Kohli, or Dhoni likes number 5, that's still okay. But it's fine for Rohit to say, I think Dhoni should bat at 4. It's fine for someone else to say that. So it was a good call, but very deserving because they set it up. The batsman set it up.
And good rehearsal now. Rohit will have to get used to coming post-match after the third
He won't mind
year.
doing just one interview.
Yes, exactly.
Man of the match and captain.
And captain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have to give credit. Shikhar Dhawan, we haven't mentioned much, but it was that partnership that really, once you had that platform, if you look down the Indian batting order, and I think it's worth having a look at that once again, because that's what set up the game, everybody contributed. You'll never see Kedar Jadav's name there because he's not among the top 4 scorers, but he's still got that 23 of 10 balls right at the end. That was the impact. And you notice the strike rates. The top 4 batsmen all are striking under 100, but that was the situation of the game. Striking between 90 and 100, and then you had the 100-plus strike rates for MS Dhoni and Kedar Jadhav, and everybody got a start, everyone contributed.
But if you look at the top 4, if the top 4 are striking at 95,
which is what they were,
it means you're getting, if they batted the entire overs, it means you're getting about 280, 285 between them anyway. So then you're getting about 210, 220, 230 from there. Then the others have the job to score the last 100, so it's working fine. What I'm interested in seeing with this side now is who plays when Kohli goes away. Do they try Shubman Gill at 3? Or do they have someone else batting at 3? Do they tell Raidu, okay, you bat at 3, we'll have Jadhav at 4 and Karthik at 6 because they were in the team originally? Or do they say, come, let's take a look at this kid?
Well, there you go. These are the options that you have. In blue, Hardik Pandya will be flying in, so he will be available.
He should play straight away. He needs as many games as possible.
Selection, so he comes straight in. But of course, still, with Hardik Pandya getting in, Virat Kohli still plays the third game. That's in Mount Maunganui. And then after that, for the 4th and 5th ODIs and the T20 internationals, it's this squad minus Virat Kohli. So Shubman Gill, as you said, is an option. Dinesh Karthik, the other option. And I'm not mentioning those 2 only because they're KKR at the moment. But yes, just a
You're KKR as well?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No, this Cricbuzz has got infiltrated. I know the IPL is still some time away, but one of the things I'm going to do when the IPL starts here on Cricbuzz is ask everybody on the crew to fill in a form and say no more than 3 KKR people on the panel at any given time.
If that happens,
Joy Bhattacharya, KKR, Abhideep, our producer, KKR, Gautam Bhimani, KKR. Anyway, this is India, not IPL.
It's KKR and RCB.
It's
red.
IPL.
See, all the couches are red.
But this is India still.
Yes.
So I mean, I know we've got one more game to take that call. Strictly speaking, you must pick the people who are not replacements or in the squad. But it'd be very delicious to see how Shubman plays then.
And of course,
it'll be very tempting for sure, I think.
If he gets the opportunity, we know what he's capable of, makes a big score, 2 big scores, then suddenly you've got that wonderful, good headache as you start picking that 15 for 2019.
Even better headache, and I won't be surprised if that happens, is if KL Rahul goes back and gets 100 and a 50 playing for India A against that England A side. At the moment, they're just knocking them over easily. But if KL Rahul goes there and gets 100, and I want him to because I think I've got a lot of flack for saying, you know what, KL Rahul's a good player and KL Rahul doesn't score runs. But white ball, it'll be wonderful if he goes and scores runs.
He's got great numbers in T20 and ODIs as well, so that's something. See, cricket talent-wise, he's right up there. And in terms of the selection headaches, there are lots of good headaches around, be it bowling department, be it spin department. You know, like someone like Aksar is also waiting in the ranks. You know, who was part of the Asia Cup, had to go back
the other day.
Yeah, it's just that Ravindra Jadeja has got that opportunity and he's capitalized on that. So that's something. The healthy competition which has been around the team has been very heartening to see. You know, you have Someone like Rishabh Pant, who is not part of the squad, but we've virtually discussed him in pretty much every segment of ours. So that's something which shows that there is enough options, and that squad of 30 for the World Cup, which will be announced at, I guess, couple of months before the tournament, will be an interesting one, because from there the selectors will be having a good headache in terms of deciding on that last 15 for the World Cup.
A lot easier to pick that squad of 30 than it is to whittle it down to 15.
We can all
but
pick the 30.
Couple of interesting points from Virat Kohli post the match. One, of course, he echoed Rohit Sharma's sentiments, saying that it was a pass score. Clinical performance is how he described both the games, but he did make one interesting point when he himself got out again in the 40s for this. He said that the other batsmen needed to take their time, and that's exactly what they did. And final point about the bowlers, he said, given a chance, would you rather have them get 40 runs or concede 40 runs and not take a wicket? These bowlers are hungry to take wickets, even if it means 15 or 20 extra runs.
You don't even have to look at me, just look to my right. He said, doesn't matter, concede another 25, but give me 2 wickets.
Yeah.
That's how it always is.
The mindset matters. I think, how you look at things matters. And I think in any format, as a bowling unit, if you're thinking of picking wickets has a direct impact on how the game is shaping up. And someone has advised me when I was playing as well, that whatever the score is, you add 2 wickets to that total, and then see how the game is progressing. So that's something as a bowling unit, if you're thinking about it, then that puts you in the right kind of frame of mind and being proactive on the field when you are in the game time.
They say that about batsmen as well. You're looking very good, 180 for 2. Now just look up, imagine, okay, is it 180 for 4? I get out, next batsman gets out. No, don't throw away your wicket. So, and both these are wicket taking. You see the speed at which Chahal's bowling. There's one ball he bowled 70 or 72. He's really letting it go. Kuldeep only bowls at about 75, 78. So they're really looking for wickets. I think Jadhav is a plus, but it's interesting that he said 324 and that the new batsman took some time to get set.
And he said it in context. He said, these are the kind of things we need to keep in mind as we prepare for that World Cup.
But also you always want one set batsman going into the last 10. So he'll be a little disappointed as well that he got out at just when the last 10 was beginning, or just before the last 10 began.
Another way of looking at it, before the start of play, if someone tells you that pass score is 324 on this wicket, and will you be happy with that to win the match? And the answer is always yes. So that's something which is important as well. So you don't know how the game is going to unfold, but the important thing is as a batting unit, you have to get to at least that pass score. If you get more, it's bonus. So talking about that situation again, and we were discussing those numbers of in the past, how in the last 10 overs, just by keeping the momentum, we've seen in the past that Indian team has lost wicket and not really reached the pass score. So that must be the discussion around it, that let's get to as close to 320 as possible, because that's what we think that is par on this track, and then we'll see how far we end.
The other reason why we are thinking the way we are about 324, we've seen the numbers New Zealand got against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is not the same bowling side as India is at the moment. So if New Zealand are getting 360, 370 against Sri Lanka, then 320 doesn't look that good. But 320 with a better bowling side is not such a bad score. India's a better bowling side. So maybe we're looking at the scores without looking at who the opposition was. With Sri Lanka, they got those runs easily.
It's a good point. Also interesting, if we were to look ahead, remember the next game takes place at the same venue, and we've also heard it's going to be on the same surface at Mount Maunganui.
India won't mind that, will they? Yeah, same surface there.
Exactly. Now that's
New
just
Zealand
a reminder.
Will have some changes for sure.
In 2 days' time, on Monday, early morning. But if you were to be Virat Kohli, win the toss again, would you say, okay, let's do it again, or this time let's chase on the same surface, same strip?
Because they're playing on the same surface, and the surface has not really changed much, even in today's match as well. In fact, Shikhar in mid-innings mentioned the fact that it might get slower. So keeping those things in mind, I think they would want to bat again in the next match, because later you bowl on this kind of track, better purchase your spinners will have, and they'll have a better impact on the game.
And then, of course, we're talking about the composition of the side. As you said, Hardik Pandya walks into the side. What's your composition in terms of who makes way?
Just one change, I think. Just one change, because now that Raidu's got a 40, you want to give
like for like with Shankar?
I think it's a bit hard on Dinesh Karthik, because every time he's got chances, he's taken them. So he needs to get an opportunity to present a case for the World Cup. But given that you want Rayudu to bat at 4, then I don't see that change that change happening. So I just think one change. But as he said, New Zealand might look at it differently.
Yeah. Santa might come back in place of maybe Grandom, and apart from that, I don't really see any change. Ish Sodhi had a good day out there. Looking at the wicket, seam bowlers have made a decent impact on the game for New Zealand side today, so they would want to continue with that. Their real problem has been batting, so that's something which they have to really rectify, sort it out. There's hardly any time in between, so all you can do is do that mental adjustment, try and find that positive frame of mind, or batsmen always talk about getting in that good zone. Try and find that trigger of taking you in that good zone, and go with a clear mind out there, and just play the situation and not really play what happened in the past.
The good thing could be that because they're losing 2 wickets in the first 10, and therefore the wrist spinners are finding it easy. I wonder if they just play a little more conservatively at the start, saying let's not lose wickets, and then let's see what happens afterwards. So that's something I'll want to see.
Also, given the fact that on paper they have the goods, would you want to jig the batting order? Well, could Kane Williamson maybe look at a different position? Ross Taylor further up. I mean, he is a set.
Yeah, it's a fantastic number. It's only 2 games,
Yeah.
It's only 2 games. Don't worry about it.
I mean, he did bat well the first time around. Just
how good was he today till he played that shot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Straight after the drinks break, and here as well, it's strange. It almost seemed as if he got carried away by his form in that 1 over against Shami, who was India's best bowler. 3 overs for 7 until that point. Suddenly he concedes 20, and it's almost as if Kane Williamson saying, "It's my day. I can do anything." And he tries to play a cut shot where he had played earlier that over a wonderful back foot punch for 4.
I think if you look at the score at the end of 10 overs, they were 63 for 2 wickets. So they were scoring at good rate. That's how they've played their cricket. They like to have that comfort zone of having that 60-70 runs in the first 10 overs, and then slow the game down in the middle overs. So that's something which has been working for New Zealand. So they would and they should stick to that formula for sure. They have impact players at the top. Guptill is a power player. You have Munro as well, who plays his natural game, and they can take the game to the opposition. So that's something which they should stick with, because in these kind of scenarios, when you are not seeing success, it's very easy to kind of fall into that trap of changing your game. You don't have to change your game. You have to find the right kind of solution, because that's been their success formula. So they have to stick to that. What is missing with their batting is that partnership and that application, and figuring out their own game plan against a particular player. So that's something which is very important as batting unit to find that solutions, find that method which is going to suit your style of play.
India have had 2 or 3 perfect matches. You look back at this game and say this was the perfect game. Pretty much the first game at Napier was a perfect game. The last game in Melbourne was pretty much a perfect game. Now India have just got to hope that they keep this going till they've got another 3 games here and 5 in India, and then they don't play any one-day cricket.
The countdown before today was 9, so it's coming
down.
Now.
Yeah, but India have most players picked. I mean, at the moment, if you pick 15 and he picked 15 and I pick 15, there'd be just a couple of differences between those, which always go down to the preference of the captain. So India are actually ready at the moment to go to the World Cup. All they'd want is Pandya to get some time in, Rahul to get some time in, and sort that number 4 position. Get a 4th seamer in. Otherwise, this team is fixed.
Well, now that Harsha has mentioned that, I think we should get all of you involved, because as these ODIs wear down here in New Zealand and we get to the home series against Australia, we'll start the entire Cricbuzz panel. We'll try and get their 15s up and running, but we want you to be part of the panel as well. So hashtag Cricbuzz Live, get in your 15s as well, and we'll see how many of them match and how many little X factors that one player, there's 2 players that might differ. And then, of course, we'll match it to the final selection that happens closer to the month of May. But also, when you've done hashtag Cricbuzz Live, it means you've been active in getting those answers in to our joy factor question. Let's quickly remind you what it was earlier in the morning. And this is what it was. Which cricketer in the Indian T20 squad for the New Zealand series made his international debut under his IPL team captain and dismissed another IPL teammate for his first wicket? Now, I can tell you something. There were a lot of answers that came in which were Kedar Jadhav. because, of course, Kedar Jadhav took the wicket of Jimmy Neesham, who at one point was his teammate at the Delhi Daredevils. But I think the question was more pertaining to that particular game. And let's tell you what the answer is. The answer is Krunal Pandya, who debuted under Rohit Sharma and dismissed Kieron Pollard as his maiden international wicket.
So it was quite an occasion, right? They sort of fooled around with it because I think Hardik and Krunal and Kieron Pollard are pretty good friends.
Yeah.
So they had a bit of a laugh over it as well. But I thought, I mean, anyone who took the trouble to find out Kedar Jadhav is actually deserving of a consolation prize if we ever had one.
Oh, certainly. And that's the beauty of
What are you giving them?
What are we giving?
What are you giving them?
Oh, we'll figure that out. We've still got a long series to go, lots of prizes.
I'll tell you what I hope you don't get. I hope you don't get one of either Gautam Bhimani's ties, or socks, or belts, or shirts.
Well,
you're not wearing socks?
No socks today. That's it. I've given them away. I gave them away to an unsuspecting recipient.
This is the most dignified you've looked for a long time. Where are all those crazy shirts and
all given away and all as quiz prizes?
Good line.
And they'll all come back at some point in time. But we hope you've enjoyed everything that we've put together on Cricbuzz Live. And before we go, need we forget, even though it might not be dodgy socks and dodgy shirts and pants, we do have a winner. Yes. And who is the ODI? It's the same winner again.
So he's blocked.
Yeah.
Yep. So we don't even know if it's a he or she for a start.
Yeah. Okay, she's blocked.
Yeah, she or he. I am Shwet 25, 2 in a row.
Okay, well done. Before we say blocked, well done. Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely. Well done. Well done, Shwet. Maybe we'll next time hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. We don't know if you're a man or a woman, so we'd like to know a little bit more about you because you obviously are a fan of the show, as are so many others. Thank you once again, Harsha. Thank you, Zahir.
Pleasure.
And we'll have lots more coming early, bright and early on Monday morning. And that will be the third One Day International once again from lovely Mount Manganui. So this was a Republic Day special for Team India as they go 2-up, and it was good governance led by Prime Minister Virat Kohli and his Council of Ministers. They delivered with the ball, both quick, both spin, and of course they put the runs on the board. Lots more to come on a Manic Monday.